I get lost inside his house. Love, I will find peace.
Fires around the globe to the 2020 Startup Routine, brought to you by Pars Air, the best source for all entrepreneurs and those who are planning to become one. Here we will be interviewing the greatest people in social entrepreneurship, in venture capitalist industry, everything from personal mindset to organizational leadership. This is the best source for you being and becoming a better entrepreneur. So stay tuned and let's Rootify. Hello, Rootifiers! Glad to have you back here in a fresh new month. It's May 2020. The apocalypse is still going on and we're still surviving and making the best out of it. How are we doing that? Well, by giving you the greatest content still in these times with the purest innovation by going live on Instagram. This is the very first time we're having the 2020 podcast by Pars Air, the Rootify podcast you love so much, presented to you on an Instagram platform. The last time we did it was on my personal profile. I'm very glad that I already see the first people tuning in. Hello, Tim. Hello, Anna. Hello, everyone. I won't be able to say hello to you now. This will spam the whole conversation. But very glad that you made the switch from my personal profile all the way over to this profile. Those 2 clicks, I appreciate that much. No, for real. And that's great because today we have another great guest here that I'll present to you. He is really an outstanding investor, VC, and a personal friend of mine that I love to switch some words back and forth in French every now and then. No worries, we will still stay international and globally accessible, so this whole thing will be in English. However, he will join us today for our second interview series throughout this pandemic that we are experiencing around the world. I already can see that he has joined our conversation. So that's really, really cool. So without any further ado, I'll just invite him to join us live now. Hello to everyone. Yes, I'm glad to see you all too. And now it's loading. So let's hope for good Wi-Fi. I think we will be lucky. And then we can jump into the conversation that we had last week with Cornelia Hoppe, another great giant in the startup industry, being a consultant herself, having worked at N26, Airbnb. So if you haven't seen the last podcast of April, which we actually did last Monday, so this is the second podcast this week, but the first of the new month, it's May. But we're delivering content more than ever because I think now more than ever, we have the time to invest into personal growth. So I think it's a really good idea to, after we binge watched every little episode on Netflix, to have some edutainment here and to binge watch something that might leave you with a spark of getting started. And there we go. Xavier, ça va bien? Bienvenue.
Hey guys. Oui, ça va.
Yeah, don't worry guys. As I said, we won't speak French, but you're a French native. Is that right, Xavier? Maybe I couldn't make the best introduction to be worth of representing how cool you really are. So I give you the stage to say who is Xavier Sarras and what should the world know about you?
Oh Jesus, that's a lot to ask.
That's like our small talk opener question. Yeah, it's not.
That's
not
a small talk opener question.
Okay, so we go straight to the point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So Xavier, I'm 43 years old. I'm a French national, born in Germany, in Frankfurt. Went to international school, so grew up with 3 languages: German, French, and English. My father was an Austrian, born in Vienna. Grew up with 7 languages. Spoke Romanian with my mother. So you can tell the Rootify topic is something that is dear to my heart because growing up polyglot and being polyglot is something that's fairly cool. In a nutshell, I've been an entrepreneur for almost 26 years of my life now. I started my first company when I was 17. Been a lot in marketing, agency businesses, and have been a business angel investing in startups for the last 8 years of my life now. I'm running a legal tech company builder, have a VC vehicle, and have an investment firm that focuses on for-purpose, for-profit companies.
Awesome. Perfect. I see you. It's not
Is
the
that
first
enough
time
for a
you've
small
done
talk
that.
intro?
Yeah, that's like
if you consider, okay, it's not that early in Germany anymore, but still, it's a Saturday. So I appreciate so much that despite your full schedule, you made the time and you're here on this show now with us. Last week we had Cornelia. You also probably know her, Cornelia Hoppe. She
Yes,
is yeah.
of course.
So we're really glad that we have high quality guests, not only from the German startup scene, but obviously as I'm now stuck kind of back in my roots in Germany, we are predominantly presenting really shapers and makers from our scene. So it's really an honor to have you in this series as well. And so we can jump right into it as we now have finished the small talk part and go to the hard talk. No, just kidding. It's still Saturday, but what's really important is we have many listeners that maybe have started up something or are at the verge of starting up something. So the purpose is really here to, as all our purpose is Rootify connecting cultures, but also like sharing success stories and also kind of failure stories, because we all know if we want to hear about successful people, there are many sources, but what can you learn most of? Mainly it's really to see what pain points have there been for other founders or VCs or investors, and maybe to avoid these things in the future. So that's why it's really very casual and transparent conversation usually. And the amazing thing about this format is I keep asking the very same questions, but the variety of answers we've gotten is so amazing. And even though there is a common denominator, it's always something new and fresh. And I'm looking forward to the fresh new insights we will get from you, Xavier. So the very first question is, as simple and as difficult as it can be, why do you get up in the morning? It's like, what's your core motivation? You know, that one thing that you're like, okay, this isn't your first call today. We know that we had another call earlier as well. So it's like starting up very early, you're doing this now, what you're doing lately, more than 26 years of expertise only in this field of where you're currently evolving around. So how do you maintain that drive? What gets you up in the morning?
That's a very good question.
Sometimes
Well,
I have some good questions.
sometimes. Actually, what gets me up in the morning, to be honest, is a set of questions I ask myself. So when I wake up, the first thing I do is smile. And that's a habit I got into, right? It wasn't that way before. So for years, the first thing I do when I get up is when I was a younger bloke, is light up a cigarette and get a coffee. But that's a long time ago. Then when I got up, the first thing I did was change diapers for one of my kids. So that's also a good reason to get up, to take care of your kids.
4.5 years out now, man. Time passes, right? Yeah.
Yep, that's true. And then for a long time, actually, the first thing I was doing when I got up was take my phone and unlock the flight mode and check emails, right? And I don't do connection problem here, by the way. Yeah, okay, I'm back. Sorry, I think we're experiencing a bit of a connection problem, but I'll try and pay attention to that. You guys can hear me, right? Yeah, okay, I can see it on.
Yes.
All right.
So you don't do that anymore. The screen saver
I don't do that
empty.
anymore. No. I don't do that anymore. What I do now is I wake up, I smile, I take a deep breath, I thank that I'm here. I thank that my wife is next to me. I thank that my kids are alive, that I'm alive, that I'm healthy, that there's this beautiful life awaiting me. And then I ask myself a set of few questions. And one of these questions is, what do I want to do today that I will feel proud about tonight? And that can be anything, right? That can be spending time with my kids. That can be doing my chores. That can be working out. That can be hunting the next startup that I feel I want to invest into. That can be challenging Ezan on his theories. That can be anything, right? That can be anything.
You have already done 2 out of these things today.
Well, you don't know how many I've done actually today.
Oh, wow, yeah.
But that's powerful, right? So that gets me up, and and funnily enough, when you probably know the snoozing effect, right? I don't snooze anymore because of that. Like, it will happen that if I have only slept 5 hours, that I might snooze for another 9 minutes, which is the standard snooze, right? That's on the iPhone. But usually that's one time, and it used to be like 3 or 4 times. But when you ask yourself those questions in your mind and you get the habit of doing that, it'll get you up. because you will want to live that day. And no matter how you feel, you'll get up, you'll do it, right? And then you'll go into the bathroom, you'll go to your gym, you'll go to your meditation, etc., etc. So that's actually what really gets me up. So technically, but from a motivational standpoint, there's a few things that get me up. I've always been driven. I've always had this energy in me. So that's, I guess, something that God was able to give me when I came down. But a lot of friends say, "Where are your clones?" And I thought when they said that to me when I was 20, yeah, I'm 20, that's normal. Now I'm 43, and they still ask me, "Where are your fucking clones?" And I think that's just because I like having energy. It's my way of being. So that gets me up. I want to achieve stuff. I am interested in so many things that I am almost afraid that one lifetime will not be enough to get everything done. So I'm trying to activate myself to use every moment sensibly, right? And that also gets me up. And then I just want to have fun, right? So life is about fun and having fun and enjoying this. So I think spending time in bed is important, but for me, it's a technical exercise, right? So it's these 7 to 7.5 hours that you just need to regenerate and get your mind to be okay again, and then you get to move on.
Amazing,
is that an answer you want? Yeah.
These are multiple answers I couldn't have wished for. No, really, I think you have mentioned many of the success habits that we have also heard in our past podcast interviews. And you combined very well the short-term and the long-term aspects of it. It's like short-term motivation is like, what are my goals for this specific day? And if I go to bed, what will I have achieved? I think that's a very powerful thing that everybody can simply implement in their routine. And talking of simple actionable steps in becoming more, let's say, successful, of course, is a difficult term because everybody defines success differently. I mean, you said in your last statement, life is about fun. So if you have this heuristic approach of having fun as a purpose, then I think your life will be fun, but everybody defines it differently. So what I think, if you want to be at least more productive, that's a great hack that we can learn already from your routine in the morning. And the other thing I can tell is with the snooze button, actually on the iPhone, in the settings, you can deactivate the snooze option. I think that's really powerful. Yeah. Because once you cannot even, otherwise you have this very first decision every morning. Do I snooze or not? And we know over the course of a day, we have so many decisions, thousands of decisions. So minimizing them, I think, is something that we learned from the big success unicorns. Like if you look at Zuckerberg, always wearing the same stuff. So we see these things that we can optimize that. So I think that's really cool. And it's cool that, as you say, the clone thing, you don't need clones. You just need a innate motivation that drives you. So thanks already for these insights. And
I don't agree on wearing the same thing every day, though.
All right, then let's put this more into a debate kind of thing. No, that's the cool thing that even though, as I said, the questions are the same, the dynamics are always so different. And I think the format evolves with each participant. So I think it's very cool to bring in some different views on things. And so what do you think about the clothing or wearing the same thing? So you like to vary your outfits, or?
Yeah, well, I understand Mark's motivation to reduce the time to think about what you're going to wear today, because that just steals time away from your efficiency and from being effective. But if you take it as an exercise to actually consciously make a choice as to who do you want to be today, and how do you feel today, and are you going to feel better wearing a shirt or wearing a polo or wearing your favorite t-shirt or wearing a cardigan or whatever else, then I think that that also plays a role in how you'll act in the course of the day. I think, shoes, for example, are a very clear example to me. You will act differently when you wear sneakers versus when you're wearing leather shoes. You walk differently, you stand differently. It will put another attitude into you. So and I like fashion, right? So for me, it's not just about wearing a gray t-shirt and a roller sweater and the same pair of jeans. I just like to look differently. So I think but that's a personal thing, right? I totally understand the efficiency drive, and I have reduced my wardrobe, to be honest, and I have hidden in my head regarding that, because the amount of t-shirt colors has definitely diminished since I started thinking about it. So I think there's a fine balance. You can do both. You can have a more limited wardrobe, but still one that will give you some variety.
All right, that's perfect. You already had the perfect debate with yourself. We don't even need me at this point. I
I'm
will just
sorry,
turn off
man.
the camera. No, no, for real. That's really great because you brought all you. It's like forewarned is forearmed. I think you a good way of debating is when you already take the counter arguments and like make them weaker. So you mentioned the my points of views already, and so I strongly agree with the way you see it. It's always like you we shouldn't worship anyone, it's like often worshiping those Tesla and Zuckerberg and empires, and you're like, okay, he did it that way, I have to follow this manual and I'm gonna be that way. So it's like maybe Zuckerberg isn't that much into fashion, so for him it's perfect. But I totally agree with you. I couldn't even set up one beard style for all my life. I
There you
couldn't.
go.
So
Well,
so
and
yeah.
on the fashion thing, I think so with Mark, but then we'll move on. When
Yeah.
you look at how he dressed up when he went to court,
Oh yeah,
uh,
the Congress. Oh my
the
God.
this the suit thing,
Ugh.
like you can tell fashion is not his thing.
No, 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 no.
A lot of
Everybody
other things
has
are,
their
but
strengths and
no.
weaknesses.
Yeah,
But Suck,
true.
if you're listening to this, go get a suit. No, I'm just kidding. But no, that's very true, and I agree. I also have like different bow tie sets for different things. So,
Right.
for example, I had two events in my life where I really thought I might have achieved something. I like you, I always set bigger standards, and this obviously the bigger you grow, they don't become smaller.
Right.
They become relatively smaller, but they become bigger if you look from the outside, maybe,
Right.
So what I realized, I have this bow tie that I've only worn in two events, and this will stay like that. And then I have my usual business stuff, and also, as you say, like if I don't wear like the New Balance like Steve Jobs used to do, but I would
Right.
wear the Yeezys,
Right.
the Adidas Kanye West. But I don't want to do some affiliate marketing. They're not paying me for that, so let's skip this topic.
Ah, ah, ah.
Not yet. But however, the next question that we would lead up to usually at this point is
Hmm.
talking about somebody that has really inspired you on your path to becoming who you are today.
Yeah.
And again, we love to question or have our questions very, very openly structured. So it doesn't have to be a person, it can be an experience. And also, it doesn't have to be like something very, very positive. It can be also, as we said, something like fail night, something that was not that nice to experience, but had given you super growth afterwards. So, was there something that you could relate to that comes up your consciousness
Dude,
now?
I'm 43. There's a number of things, right? So,
Okay, let's
uh,
start off, and I'll cut you off if it gets too long.
okay. So I can
I would
name you.
never do that.
I can name you an event which wasn't so nice. That was the death of my father. My father was 66 years old when I was born, so he was an old man already, or an older man, and he died when I was 17. So when he was 83, and losing your father at
Condolences.
such. No, thank you, but it's
Yeah,
26 years ago, right? So,
yeah,
but losing an impressive man that early definitely pushed me to growth, because I think it was one of the reasons why I became an entrepreneur so early. To be very frank, I think I was running away from grief and sorrow, and took all that energy that I should have used to probably like grieve my father, and instead pushed it all into founding my first company, and then being like self-sustained. I moved out. I was a young bloke, right? 17, you're still a kid, basically.
mm,
So that's an event that really like pushed me into growth. A person that actually pushed me to growth is Tony Robbins. So I'm not sure if
yeah.
you,
Full of
yeah,
energy. Oh my God,
yeah.
I've read all of
So,
them. Did you
uh,
go to
so
one of his events?
yeah. I was
Oh,
part of Business Mastery, and
okay.
will probably attend some other events. I'm not trying to make any advertising here, but
Let's go
Tony,
together. I've
we
thought about
can
it a long time. Yeah, yeah, that sounds great.
date with
So
Destiny
how if
could be
you
one.
say this was one of the moments that pushed you so far, then I really have no excuse anymore to not go.
Oh, it
So
did. It
yeah,
definitely did. And then I've seen and known about Tony Robbins for a long, 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 long time. And when you grow up in Germany, Tony Robbins was like the chaka chaka guru
yeah,
who makes people jump up and down. You never knew why he was doing that. It all looked so strange. It was like a sect, and and I parked Tony Robbins in my head somewhere far. And when
yeah,
about 12 years ago, I started off with a lot of self growth and potential increasing, and a lot of reading and coaching and basically life hacking. Tony Robbins came back into my life, because he is the biggest success coach out there, right? He's the one who's basically led this industry and formed this industry.
yeah.
And then I actually started understanding what he's all about. And then I went with a friend of mine, and experienced this 6 days, 15 hours a day from morning to night, this guy pushes a hall with 7,000 people to outperform themselves. And this whole jumping up and down thing is nothing else but biochemistry and has nothing to do with any sect rituals. It's just about getting your body into state, right? And to be able to get all the input into your brain. And the way he transforms people is just amazing. So so after that, basically my life changed completely, right? Like really completely.
And what was it specifically though throughout the 6 days? I mean, apart from the great vibes of being surrounded by all those people who want to grow, is it like, was it a specific method? Was it a conversation? What was the biggest impulse of that 6 days?
I think it's technology. So he calls it technology. It's not tech in the tech meaning. It's more methodology, tools.
Yeah.
Compressed knowledge expressed in such an easy way, and with hammering it into you. So he makes you exercise. So you need to engage with the whole thing. But if you engage, then you just bring all this knowledge into your body. It's just there. It becomes an instinct, right? Because there's repetition, and it's stuff theoretically. So I would say most of the stuff that he taught is not super news. It's not like I was, oh my God, but he brings you into asking questions to yourself. He brings you to asking power questions in the morning, like these things, these habit changes, and just changing the way you tell yourself stories and differentiating between what you have in your mind, what's in your gut, what's in your heart. And so throughout these 6 days, it was repetition, it was methodology, it was the vibe. And basically, it's a 6-day rave that is all about your personality. So I loved it.
Did you go on real rave concerts though?
What have I been to raves?
Yeah.
Man,
Like,
I grew up in Frankfurt. This is we fight for epicenter of techno, right? So actually,
great. Yeah. I've never been to real concerts. I mean, when I'm in Latin America, I went to those reggaeton stars there, Osuna, something like that. But festival or like 6-day kind of events, I will take both impulses for myself. Tony Robbins, maybe we go together, and then I don't know, techno rave. I'm not sure yet, but I will definitely look into these things. As you say, life is about having fun, as maybe at the very core of it. So that's great, and thanks also for sharing this very personal area of your growth with your family, because I can understand it very much. I'm also a person that doesn't like to spend time on grieving. I always want to see the return on invest of my time spent, and I feel grief doesn't really bring you, if it has negative returns, if it has some returns. Sometimes, as you said, it's maybe good to like process everything and invest into your inner self. But however, I usually use frustration as motivation as well.
Yeah, so I'm not sure it's like the right topic for what you want to do, but I'll let you lead the talk. Yeah, but to be honest, grief is very important. So if you want to ask that question, or if I can just jump in there and give you an answer.
Sure. Let's
I think grief is hugely important. Yeah. So if you suffer loss, grieving in that moment is something that will alleviate the long run. If you don't do it, then it will take longer for you to overcome, right? I had to grieve 10 years later. So, and I had to go through all the process, right? And also get help. So I got coaching help to really like go through all of this. Yeah. But anyway, so maybe not quite where you want to lead this conversation.
No, that's why we have open questions. It's I don't have a specific lead in the conversation. I love like I view life. I want to go with the flow in that sense. Okay. And so I feel the flow is very powerful. Also, that you're mentioning a thing that is maybe very well tabooed also in society, which is like getting coaching, not only for like athletes that are pro athletes that want to gain their physical gym somehow, but the mental gym, get a coach to cope with grief, for example. So I think it's very strong and powerful to see that every successful person, in a sense, at some point has got, let's say, a mental coach for that, and now you are one of the greatest mental coach, I'd say. So, with your experience of a quarter century, quarter decade wouldn't be that much. I have a quarter century that you're bringing in. I think it's really, I think that the determinator of success is you find the person that is successful and you take them as a mentor or ask them to be your mentor. And everybody had one. So usually people are willing to give back.
Yeah.
So that's a great thing, and that's also part of gratefulness, which is the very thing that you started the first question with. You wake up in the morning, you smile. So I think so these patterns are very, very codependent as well, and contributing to a life worth lived, I think.
Absolutely.
So so then if we are on that question, then usually what follows up is like, okay, you had your failures, you had your successes, but also with the current thing that we're globally experiencing, I don't want to call it a crisis. Something that we also learned from Tony Robbins. It's a lot of like how we frame things, right? The words we use is how we're going to think about it and feel about it. So what it definitely is, it's a thing that affects us all globally. So
Correct.
how you cope with it again is our choice. So what do you take out of this situation now? Also specifically for the industry, what do you experience from the investment culture, maybe globally, but rather obviously in Germany itself? Is there, I don't want to take the answers away, but is there maybe less investment or investment more in specific areas? What is the feel? How long will it take? So what's your view on these issues?
Yeah, so I think if you look at the investment scene, it's multifaceted. So I think in the first few weeks that we've experienced now, investors, and I count myself in the same realm, we were very focused on securing the portfolio. So the first thing was like, check your portfolio companies. How much runway do they have? What sort of bounce back are they experiencing from whatever we want to call this? Let's call it a crisis. I'll call it a crisis. I don't care. Crises are there to be overcome. Yeah,
it's a challenge.
Okay, let's call
you know,
it
in the era of TikTok, it's a Corona challenge, and then
okay, so it's a challenge. It's a challenge that we all pass to each other, and everybody needs to overcome it. Yeah, and
very contagious, very viral,
very viral, yeah. A viral challenge. Okay,
yeah.
So this viral challenge. So that, you know, the first thing we did was check the portfolio companies, see how they're doing, see how they're coping with it. Do they need transformation? Most of them do. How long are they funded? Do we need to refund them? So that's the first thing investors did, care about their own portfolios. And you need to look at the different types of investors as well. Now, will investment change over the course of the next 24 months? I think it will, just because we are still to face an economic downturn after the viral challenge is gone, right? So the viral challenge is just, it's locked us in, it's brought us to where we are right now. It's changing dynamics, it's changing workplace, it's changing work processes, and it's reduced the overall economic power, right, and the volume. So I think the effects that we will see, the economic downturn that is to follow, is still to be seen, and therefore investments are going to change. However, a lot of big funds, if you look at the VC funds, have raised funds just before this challenge, and therefore have money to deploy. And they're on a seven-year term, plus maybe a 2-year extension, or an 8-year term plus a 2-year extension, or a 10-year term plus a 2-year extension. But they will need to deploy their money in the next 24 to 48 months. Therefore, it's not like they can wait, you know, hugely long to deploy that money. It needs to be brought into the market. So I think what will just happen is it will wash away a lot of the startups that maybe aren't worth funding but are out there, and it will crystallize way more the real worthy investments, because, you know, startup is also cool, right? I think startup is like the new hip shit to do. Like, a lot of people are out there like, I want to be a founder because being a founder is cool. And I know, Izan, you've been on Shark Tank in Germany, and you know that is just, it's public now. It's on TV. It's on public. It's like prime time TV now, right? You go for Germany's Got Talent, or you go for Shark Tank, right? Not comparing, yeah.
But, thank you, because I can't sing that well.
Well, yeah, but according to German popular culture, you're part of the superstars that are on TV. Right, so it's become a cool thing to do. Therefore, there's a lot of pop culture around startup, and I think this whole crisis, and the challenge, is going to wash away a lot of the people that maybe aren't worth funding, or the ideas that aren't worth funding. No? So we'll continue to invest. I mean, I'm actively looking at investments. Most of my colleagues are. Clearly, there's a bit of a risk aversity right now, and kind of waiting, like, what are we getting ourselves into? What markets are opening up? What market opportunities remain? Which new ones open up? most of the big companies that you know today, like big tech companies, have all been founded in crisis, right? So crisis is for me. It's a. Actually, this is public, yeah. But so let's have an NDA with everybody watching. Don't share this, but
Everybody that's live with us, please put in your earphones so nobody else is listening. Yeah. Yeah.
I was actually almost like, from an economical standpoint, celebrating that there is a crisis. I'm not celebrating that Corona is going all around and people are dying and it's a big it's shit, right? This is huge. This is really massively inflicting our lives and people are suffering, and so I that is completely clear. But just from an economical point of view, it's a huge opportunity because the markets are getting reset. And again, crisis time is always the time when new ideas are born, revolutionary ideas are born. I think the way we're going to work is going to be different. The way we're going to treat each other as colleagues is going to be different. Remoteness is a totally different topic now. I think equality and this whole gender diversity topic with working moms and all that, I think all of that is getting better. Huge advantages because we're forced to rethink, and digitization has just got a turbo. And this turbo is going to help everybody.
Great. That's really cool. Again, thanks a lot for sharing. Also, everybody, make sure to sign your case afterwards. Afterwards, they don't make too much sense. But yeah, I feel you very much in this point that obviously you don't want to publicly say that Corona is a good thing somehow, because obviously from especially countries where you have rising infections and whatsoever inflicting lives, obviously you would never say it's a good thing. But again, we can choose what to focus on, and I feel it's a good thing to see it as a kind of like a natural selection, what it actually is, right? I mean, I don't want to reference Darwin here yet, but it is kind of like the way you describe it. It's like the startup's worth of investing, they will maybe have even more money allocated to, because there is not such a wide range to invest anymore. It might seem hard, and probably it hits many startups hard, but it also hits the big companies maybe even harder, because they're not able to react that quickly on such a huge scale to the changing work environment. So I strongly agree with that. I think it's really that sometimes you just have to destroy to create something big, and that's again, like Schumpeter said it, right? It's just this creative destruction process that we have, to reference another great German here. And I think this goes aligned. I think we should see this as a turbo and be driven even in those times where it feels hard. Maybe people are locked in their little cubicle kind of city. I mean, if you live in Frankfurt, and especially students or just junior professionals, they don't have a garden, they don't have a space for themselves. So I understand in these times it might seem harder to like create new stuff, but I think that's why we too are on Instagram Live right now, for example. You know, like creating podcasts at such a range wouldn't be possible at these times now, because obviously it's like, if you want to say it honestly, it's like a side hustle, right? It's like the main focus of us as an organization of 12 people that our family counts now. We focus deeply on the development of the app, and then on the Pars Academy as well, obviously, to provide already content until we have the app. But then we think it's so important to keep our community together, to keep exchanging, to keep inspiring each other. So that's why we're here. Like if there wasn't the Corona crisis, I think we wouldn't have done this, at least in this format. So this might be that we would have done this call, and then 3 months later it would be in our range of podcasts that would go on Spotify and Apple Music and whatsoever, but not that immediate kind of thing, because I just realized, because we have a monthly format. So this would have been posted way later maybe, and would be put into the pipeline. But now we're increasing the content rate because we think it's so powerful, which it has already been so far. So thanks again. And so lastly, one question that we have, because if we are having good conversation, time just runs, and we're all so busy and we all have our times, and it's also weekend, so both of us want to get to our families, right? So let's wrap this up. And
don't worry, man, all good.
Thank you so much. Maybe I think really much if the user response will be as positive as I think, as positive as I experience this conversation, maybe you will be open to have a second call up at some time. That would be cool. Yeah, because I think then we can keep up this format, at least time-wise. We have already challenged this format structure-wise with getting a little debate about Zuckerberg's style, but but no, let's just make this to be continued for the future and wrap it up
Sure.
with one more question,
Okay.
which is what is your personal pipeline from now to, let's say, the end of this viral challenge? And also in the future, so as you say, you set your daily goals. Do you maybe also have your 5-year, 10-year goals? And if so, obviously we already signed the NDA, so you can tell us
What
what's
they are?
yeah, what they are, and so your big ambitions, because once you were a 17-year-old entrepreneur, you had your big ambitions, and now you have achieved so many of them. So what's going to be, how you're gonna top on that? What's the next big things that we can look forward to hear from Xavier?
Okay. You're asking good questions, big questions.
That's what nobody pays me for on this show.
Okay. Okay. Well, they might at some point. So I think first of all, yes, I do have objectives, and I set objectives, short term, midterm, long term, in order to be able to pursue them. Because I think if you don't set objectives, you're not going to reach any of them. Of course, then you don't know where you're going, right? You need to set that goal in order to take every necessary step to get to that point, and you can actually plan that. So planning that is important. I think it's also important to create non-achievable or looking non-achievable goals and setting achievable goals at the same time, because one will drive you and will force you to go to a point where you can actually do more and more and more of things that you didn't think you could do, and the other will actually compensate you and make you feel proud of yourself because you'll actually achieve it. So it's also good to go step by step and not go, if we were to put this in let's say reach terms. If I said today I want to reach 1 billion people and I want to do this within the next year, then yes, that you might find a way, yeah. But I don't want to say you won't, but if you don't, then you'll be hugely disappointed, right? So maybe you want to cross-check as to where you stand and what possibilities you currently have and where you could take this, and whether your goal is kind of achievable. So I balance that on a weekly basis. I have a weekly check-in with my goals, and see if that was still working out for me. But I don't adapt too much. So on the short-term ones, I don't want to adapt because otherwise I'm cheating on myself, right? I'd rather use the time not to adapt, but to think of ways on how to get there. I won't share all of my goals because they are true to me, and I don't want to influence anybody with my opinionated situation. However, I think one of the things that I'm up to now is investing into for-purpose, for-profit companies. So after 25 years of mainly being in advertising, marketing, and taking care of selling products of other people, while I was investing, but now I've made investment one of my key areas of what I do, and I also consult, but I do want to. So I really thought about what am I going to do next, right? After 25 years, you can take a break and kind of say, okay, I'm 43. What's next, and what do I want to dedicate my life to next to my family? And I think we're all kind of driven by purpose at the moment. Everybody has this purpose topic in their head, and for me, it was about aligning what I think is good, what I feel is good, and what my heart says that I really want to do. And I've created this long list of things that I wanted to do, and a lot of things that showed up on there were actually societal problems. So whether it's aging, so our biological aging, whether it's the problems of society with aging society, whether it's climate problems, whether it's ecological problems, whether it's health from mental perspective, whether it's awareness, mindfulness. There's all these things that really are very, very important to me. And again, starting off coming back to what we started off on, I think there's so many things that it doesn't fit into one life. So I then decided to invest into them instead of choosing one and becoming an entrepreneur in one, because I think that's also where I can use my talent. So what is my objective? My objective is to discover the topics out of all of society's problems where I can be most helpful and use all of the power that I have, the capital I can acquire, and my intelligence and my mind and anything I can have, my network, my friends, utilize them to empower these domains and make sure that when I do the rocking chair test, and I do it quite often, you know the rocking chair test?
I act like I do, but you can explain it to the audience.
Okay. So the rocking chair test is, imagine yourself in a rocking chair when you're 80 or 90 years old, and you're on your veranda in the rocking chair. And while you rock, you think about your life and whether you're proud of what you've done. Right. So, and I just don't want to end up in 40 years' time saying, hey, I was a great marketeer and I was an advertising guy and I was a great investor and I made so much money. But I didn't do anything with that, right? Nothing happened out of it. And I think we actually have a responsibility right now. And it's not because Greta Thunberg is showing up on shows telling us that we're idiots. While I think part of it is right, part of what she says, she's right to say so. I think your generation is the generation that not only believes that it can heal diseases, fight diseases, could like win against diseases, save the planet, heal our climate. You guys know that you can do this, but for the first time in history, you're a generation that actually feels responsible for doing it. And I'm the generation before that, I guess. I'm a Gen X, yeah. So probably even 2 generations before you.
Yeah,
I think
actually,
you're
I
Gen
just
Y
made the
already.
cut to Gen Z.
You just
It's
made the
like,
cut to Gen
yeah,
Z.
it's like 16 to 24 is, I thought I'm Y, but
No,
apparently I'm just at the Z
okay, so you're an
thing.
old Z, yeah.
Yeah, I'm an old timer in the Z category.
The alphas
Yeah.
are coming. So so you guys feel responsible for this, and I think it's our duty to also feel responsible. So I'm really moving towards that. So as you can tell, my objective is not, I'm not stating it very clearly because it's complex, but if I wanted to state it clearly, it's to use me and what I have in my life to influence these directions in the best way I can to actually help make this world a better place. But it's not about bettering the place. It's about understanding it and making sure that it works and continues to work, because it's a fun life. We want to continue having it a fun life.
Yeah. Actually, that would be just an awesome thing. So I just shut up now and we make a cut. But I'm just, there's one question burning for me on your really great answer is, as you said, I have this feeling so often as well. We just have a lifetime.
Right.
There's so many, if you just look at the UNSDG, you have like 30 imminent issues you could focus on fully, your whole life dedicated to one problem. And that's what we do basically. But then people ask, okay, why is social sustainability so important for you? Why don't you listen to Greta Thunberg and do something for the ocean, right? Which is all, as you say, there are legitimate claims and there's many things, many challenges we can focus on. So, but if you look at it, did you find ways for yourself to like see this in a positive way? I mean, you already changed your strategies in terms of, as I recap, you didn't cheat on yourselves by having weekly progress reports where you're just like, can't make it, so let's make it 2 weeks. But you're like, okay, let's get this done next week. That's a great method, I think. But the other hand, on the long term, to be fulfilled with yourself, knowing that you won't achieve all these things in a lifetime, to make sure maybe after your lifetime, do you plan something in terms of a legacy, maybe in terms of making sure, maybe that word sounds big, but they know that after you're being on this earth, making sure that your goals are still achieved. Are you looking into this? I mean, we see this also with Elon Musk, who says, I love to work in sustainability, to have electric cars with Tesla, but what's life worth living if we're not going to be an interplanetary species? So he's very well aware that probably he won't be on Mars, or maybe just a short trip to Moon or something like that, as an like intergalactic transport and touristic thing to see in his lifetime. But he's working towards it. He wants humanity to be there. So do you have something for the other kind of like lifetime depressed people? That's a very dark term, but yeah. Just one lifetime, man. Just
no. To be honest, no. I haven't gone to that level. I think I'm still very focused on making it work this lifetime. And
Great.
Once that system is set up, I think that's probably next level to understand how you can make that carry on. But right now, I'm very, very focused on creating the impact while I'm there. But I also plan to live quite long. So
please do. We need more people that achieve 3 lifetimes in one. So
So
I
yes,
agree. Yeah.
I've found hacks and ways. So maybe that'll work. Let's see.
Please share. I'm also actually 43, but don't tell anyone.
Well, I'm actually 75, but don't tell anyone.
Oh, we have almost the same gray hair. No, that's good.
Yeah, but you color. With me, it's original.
All right. Okay. So thank you so much, Xavier. It was
Pleasure.
really a pleasure. La prochaine fois, on va parler seulement en français.
D'accord, c'est bon, ça marche.
Pas de problème. Allemand, anglais, tu peux parler tout, je sais. But going back to our roots, vielleicht auch in Deutsch, nein, aber until there's a Rootify app, we will stick to English so everybody
Okay.
can be with us. So really, thank you so much for
Pleasure.
being here with
Thanks
us
for
on
having
this
me.
Saturday. Of course, it was a pleasure. I look forward to get you in on our show anytime in the future as well, because I think we could have kept this going for some more hours. So
Absolutely.
again, thank you so much
Pleasure.
from the whole community, and enjoy your weekend with your family, and let's Rootify.
Happy weekend. Let's Rootify.
Thank you. Bye.
Ciao. Bye bye.
And that's it for today, dear Rootifiers. Thanks so much for listening and being a loyal Rootifier wherever you are on this beautiful planet. Also, make sure to check our other products from the Pars Academy, for example, where you can learn the language of your desire and especially learn how to learn languages the Rootify way. Let's Rootify.
Love, I get lost inside his house. Love, I will find peace.